ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। नत्वा श्रीभारतीतीर्थविद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरो
नत्वा
नत्वा
श्रीभारतीतीर्थविद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरौ
श्रीभारतीतीर्थविद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरौ
अधीमहे पञ्चदशीं कैवल्यपदसिद्धये
अधीमहे
पञ्चदशीं
पञ्चदशीं
कैवल्यपदसिद्धये
कैवल्यपदसिद्धये
पंचकोश विवेक प्रकरणम 18th श्लोक। सवेति वेद्यं तत्सर्वं नान्यस्तस्यास्ति वेदिता
सवेति वेद्यं तत्सर्वं
तत्सर्वं
नान्यस्तस्यास्ति
नान्यस्तस्यास्ति
वेदिता
विदिता विदिताभ्यां तत् पृथक् बोधस्वरूपकम्
विदिता विदिताभ्यां
विदिताभ्यां
तत्
तत् पृथक्
पृथक्
बोधस्वरूपकम्
बोधस्वरूपकम्
ओदेप्यनुभवो यस्य न कथञ्चन जायते
बोध्येऽप्यनुभवो
बोधेऽप्यनुभवो
यस्य
यस्य
न
न
कथञ्चन
कथञ्चन
जायते
जायते
तं कथं बोधयेत् शास्त्रं नोष्टं नरसमाकृतिम्
तं
तं
कथं
कथं
बोधयेत्
बोधयेत्
शास्त्रं
शास्त्रं
लोष्टं
नोष्टं नरसमाकृतिम्।
नरसमाकृतिम्।
साक्षिभूतः आत्मा सर्वं वेति सर्वं जानाति तस्य कश्चन ज्ञाता न भवति न अन्यत् अस्य अस्ति इति वेदिता अन्यत् वेदिता नास्ति। विदित विदिताभ्याम् अन्यदेव विदिता ततो विदितादति इति श्रुतिवाक्यानुसारेण विदितः पृथक् विदितात् पृथक् अन्यत् अविदितादपि अन्यत् अतः आत्मा पृथक् बोधस्वरूपकम् बोधस्वरूपकम् आत्मा तत् सः आत्मा सर्वं वेति आत्मनः वेदिता ज्ञाता नास्ति यथा घटादयः जडाः जडपदार्थाः ज्ञानविषयाः भवन्ति अतः ते विदिताः ये इदानीं न विदिताः किन्तु विदिताः भवन्ति भविष्यति आत्मा एतावत् न एतावत् अज्ञातः न आत्मा सर्वेषु प्रत्ययेषु प्रत्यगात्मतया बोधं बोधं प्रतिबोधं विदितम् इति श्रुतिवाक्य अनुसारेण प्रतिबोध बोधं बोधं सर्वेषु प्रत्ययेषु प्रत्यगात्मतया आत्मा वर्तते एव अतः आत्मा सर्वप्रत्यय साक्षी सर्वप्रत्ययदर्शी चित् स्वरूपः चित् स्वरूपमात्रः आत्मनः वेदिता नास्ति आत्मा सर्वं वेति किन्तु आत्मनः वेदिता नास्ति बोधे अपि यः वदति आत्मनः अनुभवः नास्ति इति तस्य कथं शास्त्रं बोधितुं तस्य कथं शास्त्रं बोधितुं शक्नोति न इति यथा घटादयः पदार्थाः ज्ञाताः भवन्ति ज्ञानविषयाः भवन्ति तत्र एव आत्मा ज्ञातं भवति बोधं बोधं प्रतिबोधं विदितम् अतः यः वदति आत्मनः अनुभवः नास्ति इति सः मूर्खः एव घटादयः घटादिपदार्थानां ज्ञानं कदा भवति आत्मचैतन्येन एव सान्निध्येन एव घटादिपदार्थानां ज्ञानं भवति चैतन्यं विना आत्मचैतन्यं विना कथं पदार्थानां ज्ञानं भवति न भवति अतः बोधे अपि यस्य पुरुषस्य अनुभवः न जायते कश्चित् अनुभवः न जायते कथञ्चन अनुभवः न जायते इति यः वदति तस्य कथं बोधयितुं शक्नोति न इति विषादश्लोक in the last class ज्ञानस्वरूप आत्मनः विशेष अनुभवः न भवति अनुभव it is the अविषयत्वात् तस्य पृथक् अनुभवः नास्ति सर्ववस्तु अनुभवेषु अथवा वस्तूनां ज्ञाने एव आत्मनः अपि ज्ञातं भवति एव आत्मानं विना वस्तुज्ञानं न भवति पदार्थज्ञानं न भवति अतः यः वदति आत्मनः अनुभवः न जायते मया इति सः मूर्खः एव बोधे अपि in the perception of a given thing, a vastu, a padartha, for whom anubhavaha, atma anubhavaha, gatadis purane anubhave jate, atmanaha anubhavaha yasya na jayate, iti yaha vadati, na jayate na utpadyate, tasya katam bodhayet shastram, saha loshta, loshta iti mritpindaha, मृत्पिंड समाकृतिः एव मनुष्य रूपेण एव वर्तते किंतु सः मृत् पिंडः एव मूर्खः इत्यर्थः. And Tikakara says, we saw in the last class, ननु विदिता विदिताम् अविदितात् अतिरिक्तः बोधः न अनुभूयते इति आशंक्य विदित विशेषणस्य वेदनस्य एव बोधस्वरूपत्वात् तत् बोधस्वरूपत्वात् अनुभव अभावे विदितस्य अपि अनुभव अभाव प्रसंगात् बोध अनुभवः अवश्यम् अंगीकर्तव्यः इति सोपहासम् आह. विदित विशेषणस्य वेदनस्य एव बोधस्वरूपत्वात् being of, because of being बोधस्वरूपत्वात् पंचमी हेतो पंचमी, because of being the nature of Bodha, consciousness, Chaitanyam, Atma, Vidita Visheshanasya Vedanasya eva, the act of perception of a given thing, the Atma has to be acknowledged, Angikartavya. Why? In the absence of experience of Bodha, Bodha Swarupatvat, Tat Anubhava Bhave, Tad Anubhava Bhave meaning, in the absence of experience of Bodha, Chaitanyam, consciousness, Viditasya api Anubhava Abhava Prasanga, the experience of a given object also would be absent. The experience of a given object, you experience an object, you know Gata, you perceive a Gata, there is perception of a Gata, perception of Mata, perception of Pata. How this perception happens? These perceptions, the knowledge of all these things, padarthas, happen in the presence of Atma Chaitanya. In the absence of Atma Chaitanya, Bodha Swarupatva tat Anubhava Abhave api, in the absence of experience of Bodha, Chaitanya, Viditasya, Jnata Vishayasya, Padarthasya, Anubhava Abhava Prasangad, there would be absence of the experience of the given object. Therefore, Avashyam Angikartavyaha, therefore what we need to acknowledge? Avashyam Angikartavyaha, therefore, since the perception happens, perception of things happen, therefore, in the act of perception of a given thing, the presence of Bodha Atma Chaitanyam has to be acknowledged. Angikartavyaha iti, the experience of Bodha consciousness has to be acknowledged, which the author presents in a sarcastic way. Sopahasam aha. Sopahasam upahasena saha. A sarcastic way. Like, yasya mandasya bodhe api gatadis purana rupe api anubhava sakshatkara katanchana katamapi na jayate na utpadete tam narasamakritim narasamakaram loshtam loshtavat jadam Manusyam Shastram Katam Bodhayet, Na Katamapi Bodhayet Ityartaha. For a manda, for dullard, for a dull person, in the perception, Bodhe, Gatadis Purane Rupe, in the perception of, in the experience of pot, etc. The experience of consciousness, Anubhavaha, Sakshatkara Anubhava, the experience of consciousness is not there to him, to the person, to the dullard. Na utpadete, na jayate iti, sahavadati, tasya. How can the Shastram teach that person? He is Narasamakritihi, Narasamakritim, Narasamakaraha, Saha, Jadaha eva, Loshtaha eva, Jadaha eva. Tam Loshtavat Jadam Manushyam Shastram Katam Bodhayet, Na Bodhayitum na Shaknoti, Shastram Tam Murkam Shastram Bodhayitum na Shaknoti. In the perception of a given thing, if an object, there is the perception of, there is experience of Chaitanyam, but not as a separate Anubhava. It is there. Without Chaitanyam being experienced, a Vastu cannot be experienced. Therefore, Chaitanyam is invariably present in every perception, every experience of objects. But there is no separate experience of Chaitanyam. If Chaitanyam also separately experienced, then it cannot be Chaitanyam. It also should be it also must have been a Yavastu, a Jada Padartha. Blessed by Atma Chaitanyam only there are experiences, there are perceptions, without which there cannot be any experiences, any perceptions. Asking for the experience of Atma Chaitanyam is a stupid thing, which the author says in the next shloka. Asking for experience of Atma Chaitanyam is like asking for a head over the shoulder. So here, the Tikakara gives a Drishtanta, he explains with a Drishtanta, an example. Let us read shloka number 20. Jikhva mestina vetyuktirlajjayai kevalam yatha.
जिह्वामेस्तिन वेत्तिर्युक्तिर्लज्जायै केवलं यथा
न बुध्यते मया बोधव्ययति तादृशी.
न
ते मया बोधः बोद्धव्य इति तादृशी
इति तादृशी.
This shloka is a commentary to the Loshta Samakriti Manushyaha. Loshta Samakritim Manusyam Katam Shastram Bodhayet. That Loshta Samakriti Manushyaha is described here. If a person says, I'm not sure whether I have a tongue. I have a jikhva, tongue. Rasanendriya. I'm not sure whether I have a Rasanendriya, I have a tongue. Me, mama, jikhva, asti. Na should be connected, not asti na. Asti, na va. Asti va, na va. Mama jikhva, asti va, na va. Mama jikhva, asti va, mama rasanendriyam, rasana. Asti va, nasti va, iti uktihi vachanam. Iti uktihi iti vachanam. Iti, the person asks. It's a shameful thing, remark. To say that, mama jikva astiva, to say that one must have tongue. Without tongue, one cannot say mama jikva astiva nastiva iti. To say that the person must have tongue. Similarly, here he says, yatha kevalam lajjagi, it is shameful. Yatha lajjagi bhavati. Kevalam lajjagi bhavati. Lajja nimittam bhavati. What? Mama jikva astiva nastiva iti uktihi. Saying whether I have a tongue or not, that is lajja. Lajja, it is lajjam janagati. Etavat bhashanam lajjam janagati. Why? Jikhvaya vina bhashanam na sambhavati. Jikhvaya vina bhashanam na sambhavati. Saha bhashate mama jighva asti va nasti va giti. Katam bhashanam sambhavati. Katam bhashanam sambhavati yadi jikhva nasti tadvat yata yata tata tadvat bodha na maya buddhyate. The same way, bodha maya na buddhyate. Bodha swarupaha atma ahameva. Kintu maya na buddhyate. Maya na buddhyate. Na jnayate. Therefore, bodhavyaha. Therefore, it should be jnatavyaha. Anubhavitavyaha. Iti uktihi tadrishi bhavati. Yadrishi jigva nasti. Astiva nastiva iti uktihi bhavati. Tadrishi eva. Maya bodha na buddhyate. Bodhavyaha iti uktihi. He says his experience. Atma, I want to experience. Mayana buddhyate. If Atma is that, it must be both of yaha. Yata jugva astiva nastiva ukti tadvat. Atma is nitya shuddha mukta svabhavaha. Ahamasmi, it is purnaha. It is blesses, in the presence of which everything is known, everything is experienced. Unlike other things, in the case of Atma, experience precedes knowledge. In the case of the Padartha, the objects, knowledge then follows then experience. Knowledge precedes experience. But in the case of Atma, it is experience precedes knowledge. Therefore, applying the same orientation what we have, the Vishaya, the Vastu, Padartha of the world, the same thing, the orientation is applied for Atma. Therefore, looking for Atma Anubhava. Atma, I want to experience. Mayana Buddhyate. The very experiencer is Atma. The experiencer, Atma, wants to experience itself. The experiencer is very Atma. How can Atma, the experiencer, experience itself? It is not possible. Kartru karma virodhat, as the Tikakara said before. Atma cannot experience itself. It cannot become a karma of itself. Karma meaning object. Karma not there, object not there. Object not there, therefore it is not even the subject. For the sake of saying, we say it is objectless subject. So it is not even a subject. When we say subject, there must be other karakas. Where are the other karakas? No other karakas. All the karakas are dissolved in Atma. So without any karaka. So when we say subject, then we have to bring in other karakas, other factors of action. But Atma is akarakam Atma. It is akarta. That's why we say akarta. We negate kartrutvam. Kartrutvam is the primary factor, primary karaka. All karakas, they are centered on karta. All kriya, any action you take, it is centered on the karta. Any kriya, the kriya must have a kriya, an action, invariably must have a karta. Without karta, there cannot be any action. An action means it must have a karta. Other karakas need not be present. Without karta, there cannot be any kriya. So kriya must have a karaka, it must have karta karaka. That is why karta is important. Without karta, there cannot be. We have in even Vyakaranam we have dhatu, sakarmaka dhatu. Whether dhatu is sakarmaka or akarmaka. The dhatu, the kriya, must have a subject. Akarmaka need not have, not need not. Akarmaka do not have. Akarmaka dhatus do not have karma. Karma not there, but karta has to be there. Swatantrasya prayojatvam karnadi prayoktrata. Kartuhu swatantriyam etad. Kartuhu swatantriyam etadji na karmadi anapekshata. Karta is swatantraha karta. Kartrakarakam not caused by other factors of action. It is swatantraha. It has no expectation from other factors of action. That is why in the Sutram, Parayana Maharshi defines Swatantraha Karta. The very definition of Karta is Swatantraha Karta. It has no expectation from other factors of action. But Karma and Karna, it is not like that. A person, suppose, Kim Kadati means it implies the object. Of course, the object is the answer. It implies Karta is there because Kadati is there. Even if you say it Karmaniya, Kim Kadyate, even though the Akanksha is the karma, but Kadyate Kriya must have been done by a person. Without that Kadana Kriya, how is it possible? Therefore, Karta is Swatantraha, no expectation from other factors of action, Swatantraha Karta. Similarly, Atma is Swatantraha eva. And that Kartritvam is, even that also is not there. Swatantraha, it is completely independent. In Vyavahara, we have Karakas, 6 Karakas, there Karta is Swatantra we defined. And when it comes to Paramartika, the Atma, it is ever independent. It is always independent. Therefore, no Karakas, even Karta, Kartritam also is not there. That's why we say Atma is Akarta, Akarta iti. Kartritam, which is Adhyastha, and the Atma is Mithya. Mithya Kartritam. That is why we need knowledge. If it is real, the knowledge cannot remove that Mithya Kartritam. Because it is Mithya, therefore knowledge. If it is Satyam, then knowledge cannot remove the Kartritam. If the Kartritam is Satyam, Satya Kartritam cannot be removed by knowledge. Because it is Mithya, therefore knowledge. Raju Sarpavata. Raju is not there. Sarpa is not there. Raju is there. Raju is there. Sarpa is Mithya. The Mithya Sarpa is removed by Raju Jnanam. So similarly, Kartritvam is Adhyastha. Adhyastha Kartritvam is Mithya. Mithya Kartritvam knocked off by knowledge. And asking for the experience of the Atma is like wanting to experience the tongue. Wanting to experience the tongue, which says, the person says, with which the person says, do I have a tongue or not? Tadvata bhavati. So it's like that. It is foolishness. So wanting to experience as Atma is a foolish thing. So therefore, it shows the person has an expectation, some expectation of the Atma in a mystical way, mystic experience. Mystic experiences are taken to be the spiritual experiences. Experience is experience. Experience involves 3 things. Triputi, Karta, Karma, and Anubhava, experience. Then it is samsara only. It is within samsara only. All experiences are within samsara, whether it is Igaloka Anubhava or Paraloka Anubhava. Even the Anubhava in Swargaloka also is samsara only, because their experience is there. Even if the experience is of finest thing, finest nature, experience which is everlasting, is relatively everlasting. Apekshika Sukhanabhava experience, that is also is samsara only. Therefore, asking for Atma Bodha is trying to tie down the Atma to samsara. That is not possible. Even if the person stands upside down, you cannot tie the Atma to samsara. Atma is always free. You can tie Atma, or you can bring down the Atma to the Vyavahara. That is because of Mithya. That is by Mithya, superimposing anatma attributes on Atma. No anatma attributes can stick to Atma, because Atma is ever free. It is Nitya Shuddha. When we say Nitya Shuddha, never contaminated. So all these anatma attributes can never stick on the Shuddha Atma. So that's why Atma doesn't require any purification. Karma Yoga purifies. What does it purify? It purifies only the Antakarnam, Jadam only, not the Atma. Atma is ever free. That is why to know the ever free, ever Shuddha Atma, the Antakarnam has to be relatively pure. That is why Antakarna Shuddhi, therefore only Karma Yoga, etc. Upasana. Atma is not purified. Atma is ever free. Therefore, Jikva Avashyaki Maya, Ama, Jikva Avashyaki Maya, because not sure whether I have Jigva or not. Because I say it, saying that the person asking. So it is Lajjayai Bhavati, Lajjayai Sampradana, Lajjayai Bhavati, Tadartye, Chaturthi, Lajjayai Bhavati, Yata Lajjayai Bhavati, Uktihi, Jigva, Mama Astiva Rastiva, Tadvat, Atma, Atma Bodhavyaha, Bodhaha, Maya Bodhaha Nabudyate, Bodhavya iti, Uktihi Tadrashi Bhavati. Bodhaha Nabudyate iti, Uktihi eva, Vyahata iti Sadrishtantam aha, Vyagada dosha. Vyagada dosha is mutually contradiction. Without tongue you cannot speak. Because you speak, therefore you must have a tongue. Vyagata dosha. Bodhaha na buddhyate. That bodhaha na buddhyate, Atma is not experienced. It is Vyagata dosha. Because without Atma no experience possible. Jikva iti. Me jikva asti nava iti uktihi Bhashanam saying Yata lajjayai kevalam Lajja janayaya eva bhavati. Lajja means lajja janayaya. Gives rise to lajja, shame. Bhavati. Na buddhi matva. Na buddhi matva jnapanaya. Jikhvaya vina. Bhasha anupapattehe. Bhasha anupapattihi. Jikhva vina. Bhasha bhashanam. Bhashana anupapattihi bhavati. Bhashananupapattehe. Panchami. Eto. Jikhvaya vina bhashanupapattehe. Therefore, evam yatha bodhaha na buddhyate itah param. Bodhaha is not done, experience, not known by me. Itah param, that from now. Itah param. Bodhavyaha iti, I have to know it. Because I don't know bodhaha, I don't know atma. Therefore, bodhavyaha iti uktihi api tadrishi lajjaya eva bhavati, lajja hetuka bhavati. It is becomes a cause for lajja, shamefulness. Therefore, bodhena vena tad vyavahara Vyavahara asiddhehe ityartaha. Without bodha, without atma, vyavahara asiddhihi. There cannot be any accomplishment, accomplishment of the vyavahara. Vyavahara is not accomplished without bodha. bodhena vina vyavahara asiddhihi iti. Then the next shloka, shloka number 21. Shloka number 21. यस्मिन्नस्ति लोके तदुपेक्षणे तदुपेक्षणे
यस्मिन्नस्ति लोके बोधस्तत्तदुपेक्षणे
yes बोधस्तत्तदुपेक्षणे यद्बोधमात्रं तद् ब्रह्मेत्येवं धीर्ब्रह्मनिश्चयः
यद्बोधमात्रं तत् ब्रह्मेत्येवं हि ब्रह्मनिश्चयः
प्रतिबोधविदितं मतम् अमृतत्वं हि विन्दते इति केनोपनिषत् मन्त्रः बोधं बोधं प्रति. In every cognition there is Atma, there is Brahma. Gata Jnanam, Gata Vritti Jnanam. So two amshas are there, Vritti and Brahma Chaitanyam in Gata Jnanam. Gata Jnane, Gata Amshaha, Atma Amshaha, Chaitanya Amshaha, Brahma Amshaha. Ataha, in every cognition, Bodham Bodham Prati, Brahma Asti Eva, Yasmin Yasmin, Yasmin Yasmin, Loke, Yasmin Yasmin Bodhaha Asti, rephrasing the same mantra, Bodham Bodham Prati, Yasmin Yasmin, Loke, Bodhaha, Loke, not connecting the Loke, Bodhaha you have to connect, Yasmin Yasmin Bodhaha Asti, Kutra, Loke, in the world, Bodhaha, knowledge is there, specific knowledge of a given object, that is Bodhaha, object Anubhava, Vastu Anubhava, Padartha Anubhava, Vishaya Anubhava, that is Bodhaha. Bodham Bodham Prati. There Bodha is Bodha Pratyaha, we saw in Kenopanishad. Bodha Pratyaya is the Pratyaya, the thoughts of a given thing, given object, Padartha, Vishaya. So Yasmin Yasmin Bodhaha Asti Loke, the specific knowledge, Bodhaha, is there in the Loka. Bodha Vishaye. Loke, Bodha Vishaye, Loke Yasmin Yasmin Bodhaha Asti. So Bodha Vishaye, there are two things. One is Nama Rupa, other one is Brahma Chaitanyam. Like the Vritti. Vritti is Jada. Vritti is one aspect. It is Nama Rupa and Brahma Chaitanya. When Nama Rupa is negated, then what is left out? Kim avashishyate? Brahma Chaitanyameva avashishyate. Brahma Chaitanyameva asti. Therefore, Bodaha tat tadupekshane. Tad upekshane. Loke yasmin yasmin Bodaha asti. Tat upekshane. That Bodha, the perception of a given thing, given object, upekshane, when it is dismissed, how cognitively. The Nama Rupa, you dismiss it. Upekshanam. Upekshanam means discarding. Upapurvaka, iksh dhatu, iksh darshane. That's the meaning of upeksha. Upeksha means dismissing, discarding. You discard the Nama Rupa. The different bodhas, different perceptions are there. Perceptions implies two things. One is Nama Rupa, two Amsha, Nama Rupa Amsha, other one is Brahma Chaitanya. You dismiss the Nama Rupa, you can't dismiss the Brahma Chaitanya, dismiss the Nama Rupa. So Tat Upekshanam. Yasmin Yasmin Bodhaha Asti Loke Tat Upekshane Sati. Sati Saptami. Upekshane Sati. Whatever the perceptions are there, when the perceptions are dismissed, upekshane sati, when they are dismissed. With reference to any given object, bodha is there, perception is there, knowledge is there. The knowledge implies that vastu, the vishaya, plus the chaitanyam, like gata and the chaitanyam. Gata vritti has got gata amsha and the chaitanyam. Gata is that vritti and which is lighted by the Atma Chaitanyam. Therefore, two things are there. So, consciousness and pot, two things are there. Because of consciousness, the Gata is known, Gata is appreciated. Gata now and Pata comes later, Mata. Therefore, objects keep on changing. But along with every object, every perceived object, there is Brahma Chaitanyam. Now, when all these perceived objects, the Namarupatmaka Jada Padarthanam Upekshanam, when they are dismissed, what about Brahma Chaitanyam? That stands undismissed. It remains avatishtate. Tat upekshane sati, when the Namarupatmaka, this Jada Vastus are they are dismissed. Upekshate sati. Yat bodhamatram avashishyate, that which is bodha swarupaha, bodhamatram. Bodhamatram is bodhaha eva. Bodhamatram. Bodha eva. Mayura Vimsakari Samasa. Tatpurushaha. Bodhamatram. Bodha eva Bodhamatram. Bodhamatram avashishyate. Bodhamatram alone. Gatapatadi Vishaya Jnanam Loke Jnayate. Gatadayaha Vishayaha Nyeyaha, they can be known. Namarupa Namarupatmakaha Jnana Vishayaha. Pratyekam Jnana Vishaya Amshadvayam Asti. One is Jnanam, other one is the object, Vritti, Vishayaha, other one is the Chaitanyam. Vishayaha tu agacchati, gacchati. Kintu Atma tasya agamanamapi nasti, gamanamapi nasti, sada vartate eva, ataha tat upekshane, bodhe upekshane sati, kim avashishyate, bodhamatram eva avashishyate, tad brahma eva. Tad Brahma Agamasmiti Evam Dihi Brahmanishchayaha. Brahmanishchayaha, Brahmanaha Nishchayaha, Brahmanishchayaha. That is the Nishchaya, the conclusion, the firm understanding of the knowers of Brahma. With reference to Pancha Mahabhuta Viveka, we did Sat Viveka. If you remember, Akasha is there, minus Akasha, what is there? Brahma Chaitanya alone. Namarupa is negated. Therefore, pure Sat alone is there. That we saw in Panchabhuta Viveka. Now what we are doing is, in Panchabhuta Viveka, we did Sat Viveka. Now we are doing Chit Viveka. Sat and Chit are not different. Here we are talking about the Vritti. There, Bhutas, the external objects. Here the Vritti, the knowledge. Vritti comes and Vritti goes. But on all the Vritti, the Chit is there. Chit, the word we use because the Vishayas are Vritti. Sat, the word we use when the Vishayas are Bhagya, external. So Namarupa we negate in the external world, Bhagya Prapancha, and we say Sat alone is there. Similarly, Namarupa in the internal world, they are also Mithya, Jadam only. We dismiss, and what remains is Chit alone. And the dismissal is not physical dismissal, it is only in terms of understanding, cognition. Gata Namarupa is Mithya. Gata in the Vritti is Mithya. Recognizing Mithyatvam of every Namarupa. That is what negation is. Negation is not physical negation. Physically we cannot negate. Recognizing the Mityatvam, that is what negation, dismissal. Upekshanam. Upekshanam is dismissing. How do you dismiss it? Understanding, recognizing Mityatvam of the Nama Rupa. So therefore, Chaitanyam that reflects in the Vritti, the Chaitanyam which reflects in the Vritti is not limited by the Vritti. It is reflected, the Vritti, the objects, they get lighted by the Vritti. Not Atma Chaitanyam gets limited by the Vritti. Because Atma is free from any limitation. It appears to have taken the form of Namarupa. Therefore, Namarupa, that Namarupa is Adhyastha on the Atma Chaitanyam. There, and because of that, we think Namarupa is real. That is not. Therefore, Namarupa should be negated. Nitya iti. Minus that. What is left out? That Brahma, which is there in all the vrittis, that remains unchanging. Therefore, it is free from change, free from any form. Therefore, yatyat loke bodha tattad upekshane sati bodhamatram avashishyate. Bodhamatram avashishyate tat brahma ahamasmi. Tat brahma is, that is myself sakshi chaitanyam. Jnanam alone, sakshi chaitanyam alone remains. Evam dihi, this understanding, dihi, buddhihi, dihi jnanam. Dihi means jnanam. Evam dihi brahma nishchayaha. The consciousness which illumines all the vritti, it doesn't arise and doesn't subside. It always there. It illumines both the presence and absence of the vritti. That Brahma Chaitanya is myself. Evam dihi Brahma nishchayaha. Therefore, all the vrittis are only Nitya Upadis for Brahma Chaitanyam. They are the manifester through which the Chaitanya manifest. Therefore, Chaitanyam is minus. When you dismiss the Upadi, we don't dismiss the Chaitanyam. And these Upadis cannot make any dent in the Chaitanyam. Body, Shariram is their prana, Indriyani, Manaha, all are Upadi. They are Upadi. They are blessed by Atma Chaitanyam. Therefore, only they enjoy the status of being, Mithya being, not real being. So, therefore, even this Ahankara, Mamakara, Mithya. Therefore, this Aham, Shuddha Aham, without anything added to it. That is Chaitanya, that is always is there. Therefore, the Sakshi, Chaitanyam, the Sakshi Chaitanyam always is there, even when Sakshyam is not there. Irrespective of Sakshyam, Sakshi is always there. So, without the objects, the Sakshi, the witness continues to be there. But Sakshi is not Sakshyam. The Sakshi can eliminate all the vrittis. The vrittis they are witnessed by the witnesser, but the witnesser is never witnessed. That's why we say unwitnessed witness. Alupta druk. Alupta druk. When witnesser is not there, there cannot be witnessed. When witnessed also is not there, witness cannot be appreciated. We cannot say witness is not there. When witnessed or not there, witness is not there, we cannot say. Even when witnessed or not there, witness continues to be. Only thing is, it is cannot be appreciated. So, therefore, iti evam dihi brahma nishchayaha. Tikakara. Bhavatu evam vidaha. Saha bodhaha tathapi prakrite brahma avabodhe kim ayatamiti ashankya aha. Fine, let it be there. Bhavatu evam vidaha. Bodhaha, saha bodhaha, atma, let it be tatapi. Prakrite brahma avabodhe. In understanding this brahma avabodha, kim ayatam iti ashankya. Kim ayatam katam ayatam. Prakrite brahma avabodhe. Kim ayatam iti ashankya aha. Yasmin yasminiti. Loke, that is Jagati, yasmin yasmin gatadi lakshane vishaye bodha jnanam asti. Tat tat upekshane. Tasya tasya gatadi vishayasya upekshane anadarane. Dismissing. Anadaranam. Upekshanam is anadaranam. Krite sati. Yat bodhamatram gatadi सर्वत्र अनुस्यूतम यत् स्फुरणम अस्ति तदेव ब्रह्म एव इति एवं रूपादिः बुद्धिः ब्रह्म निश्चयः ब्रह्म अवगतिः इत्यर्थः. Simple tika, you can understand. Loke jagati, in the world, yasmin yasmin gatadi lakshane vishaye bodha. So gatadi vishaye yasmin yasmin is referring to, with regard to every bodha, every cognition. Gatadi lakshane vishaye bodha jnanam asti. Then the tattad upekshane, when that gatadi vishayas are negated, gatadi vishayasya upekshane anadare, then what is avashishyate krite yat bodha matram, which is sarvatra anusyutam bhavati yat, that which anusyutam, like sutre manigana eva, that which is in and through all the gatadi vishaya, yat anusyutam, it is puranam bhavati, that is independent, that is free of the gatadi vishaya. That's why gatadi sarvatra anusyutam, it is anusyutam to all the vishaya, therefore it doesn't depend on the vishaya. Anusyutam bhavati, which is entwined in all the gatadi vishaya. Tad brahma, tadeva tad brahma evam rupa dihi buddhihi, dihi understanding, buddhihi brahma nishchaya, that is nishchaya, that is avagatihi, understanding of brahma. Brahmanaha nishchaya, brahmanaha avagatihi, brahmanaha jnanam ityartaha. Brahma nishchaya means brahma jnanam, that is the jnanam of brahma, that is the knowledge of brahma. Okay, the next shloka 22. पंचकोश परित्यागे साक्षी बोधावशेषतः
पञ्चकोशपरित्यागे साक्षिबोधावशेषतः
स्वस्वरूपं स एव स्यात् शून्यत्वं तस्य दुर्घटम्.
स्वस्वरूपं
स्वरूपं स एव स्यात् शून्यत्वं तस्य दुर्घटम्
पंचकोशानां परित्यागे सति शून्यत्वम् आयाति खलु. पंचकोशानां परित्यागे सति, सति सप्तमी. 5 koshas, panchakoshas are negated, that is Nityatvam, recognizing Nityatvam of the koshas. They are Nitya, they are not real. They are Adhyastha on the Atma. So Annamaya kosha is Atma, but Atma is not Annamaya kosha. Pranamaya kosha is Atma, but Atma is not Pranamaya kosha. Like that, all the koshas are Atma, but Atma is not any of them. Then you understand what Mithya is. Annamaya kosha is Atma, Atma is Annamaya kosha, it's a problem. Annamaya kosha is Atma, but Atma is not Annamaya kosha alone. Then you understand what Mithya is. Therefore, understanding Mithya, then Panchakosha Parityaga, when koshas are negated, then you give up, is what giving up is. The giving up is Jnanena Eva. We say Jnana Karma Sannyasa in Gita. Same, giving up. Giving up, what do you give up? Renunciation, Tyaga. If you have really anything, we can give up. We don't have anything to give up. What is to be given up then? That Abhimana is to be given up. The Abhimana is Mithya Abhimana. So Mithya, therefore only Jnanam, Jnanena Karma Sannyasaha, Abhimana Tyagaha. So same here also, the koshas are given up, negated. Panchakoshanam Parityage Sati. Panchakoshanam parityahe sakshi bodha avasheshataha. Sakshi chaitanyam avasheshataha. Panchakoshanam parityahe sakshi chaitanya avasheshataha. Sakshi chaitanya avasheshataha is Sakshi Swarupasya Bodhasya Avasheshanat. So, starting from Annamaya up to Sakshi Chaitanyam. Sakshi Chaitanyam is not negated. So, up to, starting from Annamaya up to Jnanamaya, everything is negated. Sakshi Chaitanyam alone negates everything. The witness for negation is Sakshi Chaitanyam. That Sakshi Chaitanyam cannot be negated. Therefore, Sakshi Bodha Avasheshataha Panchakosha Parityage Sati. Avasheshataha Avasheshanat Sakshi Bodhena Avasheshataha. Avasheshataha is Panchami. Sakshi Bodha Avasheshanat. Because of the Sakshi Chaitanya, Bodha is Chaitanyam, Avasheshanat means that alone Sakshi Chaitanyam remains. You don't dismiss Sakshi Chaitanyam, dismiss all the kosha. Then, therefore, Panchakoshaha, Heyaha, Tyagaha, they can be dismissed. Therefore, Tesham Tyage, Sakshi Chaitanyam eva avashishyate. That Sakshi Chaitanyam, Saha eva swaswarupam syat. Saha Sakshi Chaitanyam, Sakshi Rupaha, eva swaswarupam syat. That is the nature of oneself. One's true nature is this Sakshi Chaitanyam. Swaswarupam Saha eva. Swaswarupam is one's nature. One's own nature is that alone, that Sakshi Chaitanyam alone. Tasya Sakshinaha Shunyatvam Durgatam Bhavati. So Sakshi Chaitanyam is the negator which cannot be negated. Which cannot be negated. So Sakshi Chaitanyam is a positive entity. It is not a Shunya. It is not absence. It is there. It can negate everything, but it cannot be negated. It doesn't have a negator. It is not possible to negate Sakshi Chaitanya. Tasya Sakshi Bodhasya Shunyatvam is Durgatam. Durgatam, it is illogical. Durgatam, Gata Dhatu, Gata Sheshtayam. Durgatam, impossible. Illogical and impossible. To define Sakshi Chaitanya as Shunyam is illogical and it is impossible to dismiss it. If the Sakshi Chaitanyam, suppose if it is Shunyam, then Shunyam becomes the basis for everything. If Karanam is Shunyam, then all the Karya also will be Shunyam only. All the Karyas will be Shunyam. Then pot also, when you recognize a pot, that pot is also not, pot is not, because Shunyam. So, because everything is Shunya. Karanam is Shunyam, Karya also Shunyam. You perceive the pot which is not a pot. The perception also is Shunyam only. Everything is Shunyam. So therefore, this Shunya, this error is made based on the Adhisthana. Niradhisthana, you need to understand one thing very clearly. Brahma is not possible without Adhisthana. Niradhisthana, Brahma na sambhavat. When you mistake a rope for a snake, you see, snake implies there must be rope, even though you may not have the knowledge of rope. But there must be Adhisthana Rajju. Without Adhisthana Rajju, there cannot be Adhyastha Sarpa. Adhyastha Sarpa implies Adhisthana Rajju. You may not know the Sarpa is Adhyastha. Sarpa is real, fine. But there must be Adhisthana for it. So Niradhisthana, Niradhishtana sarpaha na sambhavati. Without adhishtana, sarpa cannot be there. Niradhishtana sarpa brahma is not possible. So brahma implies the adhishtanam. Rope is the adhishtanam required for sarpa adhyasta, sarpa adhyaropa. Therefore, similarly, therefore Rajju is there or not? Rajju is there. Therefore, how can you say Shunyam? Therefore, it is illogical to conclude, to say that the truth is Shunyam, it is Durgatam. So, therefore, you cannot say Satyam is that which cannot be negated. That is why we use the word Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma iti. Trikale tishtati iti sat. Katam Shunyam bhavati. The Satyam is what negates everything, and Satyam cannot be negated. Because what can be negated? There are Mithya. Mithya Padartha, Mithya Vishayas are negatable. They are negated. What is negated is Mithya. That which negates is Satyam. The negator Satyam cannot be negated by another negator. Another negator, that is nothing other than Satyam. Therefore, anything which negates must be Mithya. Being Mithya, how can it negate Satyam? Not possible. So, therefore, where is Shunyam? Shunyatvam is Durgatam. Shunyatvam is impossible. Therefore, Swaswarupaha Saha Sakshi Chaitanyam Brahmayeva. Therefore, Sakshinaha Abhavaha Asti. That is Shunyatvam Asti iti Vaktam na shakyate kenapi. Tikakara. Nanu Gatadi Vishaya Upekshaya, Upekshanam, dismissing. Gatadi Vishaya Upekshaya Tadartha Anubhava Rupam Brahma Avagamyate Chet. Connecting to the previous mantra, he says, when Gata, etc., they are dismissed, and therefore that which is not dismissed in that Brahma Anubhava Rupa Avagamyate Chet, it is understood Chet, then Kosha Pancha Vivekaha Vivekoyam Anifprayojanah Syaditi Ashankya Brahmanah Pratyak Rupata Ajnanena Vina Samsar Anivrittehe Tatatva Avabodha Upayogitvat न तस्यापि वैयर्त्यमितियाह Panchakosha iti. We will read the Tika in the next class. Okay. So we'll stop here. We'll read the Tika into the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Dhanyavadah.
धन्यवाद
धन्यवादः जी
धन्यवाद जी
धन्यवादः शरण जी
धन्यवाद.